Welcome back to Divinati. Today we're going to talk about the full moon in Capricorn. So, where I'm living, the full moon in Capricorn will become exact under the ascendant of Scorpio. So that will increase the significance of the planet of Mars at this time for people living in my area. I highly encourage you to check what the ascendant is going to be in your area when the opposition goes exact, because that can give you some clues to what the experience is going to be like. With that in mind, we are going to start with the sign of Capricorn. Actually, before we begin, I'd like to say a few words about this new moon. So, when the moon is in Capricorn in a person's natal chart, it often indicates a strain between the person and their mother. Like the mother could be, absentee in one way or another. There are exceptions, obviously, such as, for example, when Saturn is in Taurus in the native's chart. But generally, it makes for a mother who's cold or distant, or favors practicality and favors social status and money over emotional well-being. So, in transit with the sun in Cancer opposite the moon in Capricorn, it can feel like you are dealing with the scenario of stepping into a role as a provider of some sort of emotional comfort, of some sort of emotional understanding, or some sort of intuitive value, while having desires within yourself to get a sense of stability and a sense of wealth. And not just wealth in a more financial sense like with Taurus, but in the matter of things being stable, secure, and reliable. Because one thing I've noticed about Moon and Capricorn people is that they were often emotionally neglected when they were growing up, so they came to learn that emotions didn't matter, or at least their emotions didn't matter. So with this Moon and Capricorn being full, a person's emotional needs tend to come to a head because they're so busy taking care of someone or something else in a certain way. But what of themselves? So let's go ahead and get to Capricorn. Okay, so for Capricorn risings, this sun is going to be in your seventh and the full moon is going to be in your first. One thing to note is that the moon is going to be approaching Pluto at this time. So there's a little bit of foreshadowing going on here, because you have probably been in a position for a while where it's been very important to maintain your relationships with other people. Like, you are usually the one bringing the Cancerian energy during this transit to your relationships. But at the same time, it's going to become clear that for you personally, certain emotional needs have been unmet, or that you have been making a point to suppress your own emotional needs in the name of practicality when it comes to these relationships. So it becomes a very important opportunity to take care of yourself. Also, with the moon square in Chiron at this time, wounds relating to the mother or motherhood may be at large. I just noticed that the moon will be applying a square to Capricorn. So be mindful of that. Be kind to yourself on an emotional level so that you don't end up spilling a lot of emotional negativity onto other people. And with that, it's time to move on to Aquarius. Aquarius rising. This is going to take place on your 12-6 axis. You been feeling buried with work lately? Do you feel like you've been struggling to keep your mental health intact while dealing with constant thankless matters of some capacity. Because the sixth house, the sixth house is a lot about bad fortune, according to the ancient Greeks, and it's also about thankless tasks that we have to do, like laundry or paying bills or things like that. Little things that we don't notice, but they help underwrite the day-to-day machinations of our lives. So with Moon in Capricorn being full in the 12th house, that is highlighting a need for mental stability. That's highlighting a need to create a place for yourself so that you can recover from the experiences in the world. Just a quiet and possibly a cold place, because Capricorn is about cold, dry energy. So definitely on your mind right now is cold and dry things as well, which is going to be kind of difficult because we're in the peak of summer, especially up here in the northern hemisphere, that is. So be mindful of that. And next we have Pisces rising. So Pisces risings, this particular full moon in Capricorn is taking place on your 5th and 11th axis. This is the axis of recreation with friends versus recreation by oneself. This is pleasures of the flesh versus pleasures of the mind. This is a matter of your own children versus other people's children. All of these matters are in account with the 5th house versus the 11th house. So with the 11th house moon in Capricorn, you are seeking to lay down some concrete steps to achieving general goals in your life. Whatever those positive goals may be, you're like, what can I possibly do to actually take control, take some initiative, and make these things happen? And be careful of the 11th house, second house moon Chiron square, because it might mean that at this time your mom might not approve of your friends. Now, for Aries rising, I have a mouthful for you, because this full moon is going to be taking place in your 10th house. The highest place in a person's chart, and this moon in Capricorn is going to be there. So you're looking to advance your career. You're looking to advance your social status. You're looking to advance your public reputation and to avoid scandal of any kind. However, with the sun in Cancer in the 4th house, you've been something of a homebody lately. Domestic affairs have taken the highest primary focus in this regard. So you might be looking at, for example, let's say you are a stay-at-home mom. You might be wondering what sort of impact your family is having on your own reputation overall, especially like the way that your kids behave or how much money your husband makes. And the roles can be reversed with these as well. You could be in a capacity, for example, where you are taking care of a lot of things at home, but because you are so consumed with domestic matters, it has made it difficult to work on career matters, to work on public affairs. So this particular full moon will be about balancing those two things, seeing if it's possibly not too late to go back to school and resume your career, or if you have to worry about the kids and their well-being, for example. So with that in mind, on next to Taurus. So Taurus risings, this full moon is on the 9-3 axis. So this is about learning. This is about your culture versus other people's cultures. This is about secular thinking versus abstract and spiritual thinking. And with moon in Capricorn in the 9th house, it can be that you've noticed that getting a grasp on these foreign concepts or these distant things has proven to be a challenge. You could be regarded right now as a caretaker within your community or among your siblings or in your immediate environment, but you've been planning something of a getaway with this. You're looking to further and expand your horizons. You could be interested at this time in learning about new religions or renewing your devotion to religions. And mind you, when I say religions from an astrological perspective, I'm not talking about I'm not necessarily talking about faith. What I am talking about is the value of, just a second. I'm getting a little bit of bump there. What I am talking about specifically is you are looking to devote yourself to the study of some esoteric knowledge, something that is not immediately apparent, but you're having to balance learning these new things, these foreign things, with the duties that you have when it comes to local things, which I mentioned earlier. With that in mind, we'll move to Cancer. Cancer risings, you and Capricorn share the greatest importance of this full moon, though I don't have much to say on the matter. Also, please disregard this chart's position because I will be reading from a whole sign perspective, and this is Gemini's. Okay, actually, please disregard that. Alright, Gemini, this is taking place on your second house, 8th house axis. So you have been providing comfort as a value. You have been a person who has been espousing the values of intuition, of emotional nurturing, but you've also been having to deal with 8th house matters. The moon in the 8th house is kind of a scary place because it can entail deathly affairs. That doesn't necessarily mean that you or someone that you know has died, but the 8th house is, in simplest terms, other people's money, and how that relates to one's own chart is that it is the exchange of money, because when you're dealing with other people's money, it's a matter of, well, who's getting what. So with the moon in Capricorn, 8th house, you might have been thinking about your will, you may be thinking about your stock portfolio, your investments. You might be thinking about anything and everything to do with other people's money, especially when it comes to the money that you generate. Like, for example, right now, you could be working extra hours to save up extra money for your family, or looking to get a new life insurance policy, things like that. For Gemini and Sagittarius, anything related to financial matters, anything related to finances that are not a house, liquid finances, is going to be very much so on display with this full moon. And now we come to Cancer. All right, Cancer risings. For you, this is going to be the most significant full moon of the year, or one of the most significant full moons of the year, along with Capricorn, because the sun is in your first house, which gives massive significance to one's own personality. It just makes a person be the Cancer. You are the nurture, you are the sensitivity, you are the intuition, but at the same time, you are looking for stability among your relationships. You have to be careful, because with the moon in 7th house in Capricorn, it can feel like you are putting your own emotions second in order to preserve your relationships with other people. Remember what I said at the top of the video about moon in Capricorn often ignoring their own emotions or being cold and distant and reserved. So, another scenario could be, conversely, you could be so focused on providing nurture to yourself that other people see you as standoffish, or that there is just some sort of standoffishness between you and your relationships with other people. And as a third intermediate option that could be taken on as a tone, you might be providing emotional nurture for other people, but feeling a little hollow inside yourself. So just be careful and take the time to balance how much you give to yourself versus how much you give to other people. With that in mind, we're going to move on to Leo. Oh, Leo. Let's talk about it, Leo. The sun's been transiting your 12th. You are a sun-ruled chart, and the moon has been in your sixth. So that usual charismatic nature that is common to you may have been diminished. You might be feeling less outgoing, less charismatic. You're more focused on healing yourself. You probably have plenty of days where you just want to stay inside and just sort of mind your own business. And with the moon in six, there's a tendency to suppress one's emotions or to try to treat one's emotions in a very practical way. So dealing with or failing to deal with these emotions might have left you feeling a little bit shut down. So this is a time to heal up, to gather your breath, to just meditate and be prepared for the upcoming Leo season, because once the Leo season comes up, that will make you return into focus and make you feel yourself a little bit more than right now, because I must imagine right now that you aren't feeling yourself too particularly much. But like I said, you will get there soon. Now on to Virgo. All right, Virgo rising. Similar to Pisces, this full moon is going to take place on your 5th, 11th house axis. So if you have been providing a safe space and a sense of comfort for your friends, you're looking to explore your own personal recreation a little bit more. You might have been doing what other people want you to do among your friend groups or going to parties for your friends, but you're looking to have your own fun now, which is kind of a challenge because the 5th house, Capricorn, is not really the energy of having fun. Capricorn is the energy of like providing the structure to have fun. Like when I think of Capricorn, I think of the person who owns the venue that the party is going to be at, more than I think of a person who is having the drink at the party. So much like Pisces rising, this is a matter of balancing your personal recreation with your social recreation and your personal domestic life with regard to children, with your external needs. So with Moon and Capricorn at 5th, you might be planning on having a child right now. Like especially if there's anyone out there who has a Virgo rising and you are planning on having kids right now, like you're not actually about to have them, you're just in the planning phase, do let me know how that's been going for you down in the comments below. Generally speaking, the sun in 11th is considered to be a positive place, and this makes your role to be a very welcomed person among people, a very welcome person among your friend group. Like your friends know you as a person who has good instincts, who knows how to provide comfort in an uncanny way almost. Do keep all these things in mind, and we're going to go to Libra. All right, my fellow Libra risings, I don't have much to say here, but it is on an angle. This full moon is going to be taking place on the 10-4 axis. 10-4, good buddy. So right now you are a person who is known by a lot of people, not just your friends. You're sort of known by people who aren't properly acquainted with you as some sort of caretaker, as somebody who is trying to keep a sense of safety and comfort among people. But to do that, you have to take care of this moon in fourth house. Having the moon in fourth in Capricorn is really challenging because it indicates some sort of coldness or distantness or lack of emotional comforts in the home. So at this time, it's about restructuring your home life and your domestic life. It's about laying down the foundations that can lead to empowerment and stability in the long run so you can enhance your public image. You keep that in mind, generally you'll have a good time. And let's move on to Scorpio. Scorpio risings. Very similar to Taurus rising. This is taking place on your 3-9 axis. It's actually good that the moon is in third because moon in third usually leads to a good understanding of things, an innate ability to understand things. So with the moon, also please disregard this chart because with this chart the moon is in the sign of Aquarius, but we're not talking about the transit ascendant, we're talking about the natal ascendant. So with the moon in Capricorn in your third house and the sun in Cancer in ninth, you've been learning a lot of valuable lessons about emotions and stability. So now you're going to take these lessons and you're going to apply them to your immediate environment. You're going to take the newfound understanding of how to structure things and you're going to make a powerful place in your immediate environment that will support good emotional states of being in the future. Very simple and straightforward. Onward to Sagittarius. Alright, Sagittarius, similar to Gemini. The matters of finance are at hand again, but with Sun in 8th house in the sign of Cancer, it seems that you have been providing other people finances. It seems that you have been managing other people's finances in some capacity, managing other people's wealth in some capacity, especially if, for example, you are a nurse at an assisted living facility. Right now, you're looking to secure your finances. You're looking to gain and develop more financial stability for yourself. And as the moon approaches Pluto, this may lead to changes in your own personal sense of values, like what you think is valuable, not only from a material perspective, but just valuable in general. So that's going to lead to heightened focus. As I've said before, it's going to lead to heightened focus on finances. It's going to lead to a heightened focus on what you can actually do to improve your finances, because you've been taking care of other people for so long, but where's your money? So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any questions or any comments, please leave them below. And like I said, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, do the whole bit. And I'm going to come back to YouTube and I'm going to do these a lot more often. And I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Thank you so much.